All right, welcome everybody to another premiere episode this week. Another brand new series that I'm going to be bringing to you. I don't know how regular this will come, but as often as I can do it, I'm going to be bringing you Gaming Gold. Now, what is Gaming Gold, you might ask? I was trying to find something fun that kind of felt and sounded a lot like Hidden Gems, so alliteration. Figured that's what we're going for here because that's what the series is going to be all about. I'm going to be talking about video games that you can find out there for, that are kind of almost like hidden gem in a hidden gems kind of fashion, undervalued, underpriced, things that you might be able to pick up at a flea market, the GameStop, a used, wherever you find old games, because that's what we're going to focus on. We're not talking AFA graded games or whatever WADA or whatever the grading companies are for those. We're not talking about sealed box games. I'm not talking about those huge sales that we'll do something else special for those kinds of things with those huge mega sales for some of these graded copies of games and whatnot. This is going to be your loose finds. These are games you might be able to find out there loose. They might not have the manual. This is stuff that it's out there. It's out there, and it's just, if you don't know what you're looking for, you can sometimes let a lot of good deals pass you by. So I'm doing some research, looking into this stuff. I'm going to start reaching out to like my buddy JJ and maybe some other people to help me out because, again, I'm a video game enthusiast. I'm not an expert, but I find this stuff fascinating. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to start looking into some things where I can find some games for surprising prices. So in doing some research to know what I'm going to look for when I'm out there looking, if I decide to go looking for this stuff, this is where I came up with the idea. So hopefully you're on board for checking out this new series, Gaming Gold. And if you want to see what my first selection of games are going to be, these are mostly going to be things that I'm a personal fan of. And if you know me and you're watching the channel, you kind of get in a sense of the things that I like. And you might see a game or two that we've talked about before, featuring a character that I've talked about before, or rocked a t-shirt or two. So with that all said, just hang on for a few seconds after the intro, and I'll be right back with the first episode of Gaming Gold. Alrighty, so where are we going to start? This is exciting. This is exciting for me. It's a brand new show. Don't know how this one's going to run. Let's see. But this is our video game hidden gem show. So that's what Gaming Gold is. I try to explain it as best as I can. That's the idea that I'm going for. Similar vibe to hidden gems. Now, I might not have as many separate categories, but instead of categories, we're going to be hitting console type games. So we are going to start this off with our first console that I want to cover this week at least, and that's Nintendo, the original NES. I know a lot of you out there might have had this. If you're the same age as me, or in the same kind of wheelhouse age as me, you had your NES. And Mega Man, the original Mega Man, is a personal favorite of mine. And I want to point some of these games out to you because not every game, you'll think, oh, it's Mario. Mario's worth. No, there's so many Marios out there. There's so many games that are basically worthless because there's so many. That's why some of these games, it is a surprise to me why some are more valuable than others. So let's look at what is the original Mega Man go for. If you can find one loose, a loose cartridge, a loose original cartridge. Also be careful. This is going to be my first little tidbit. Be careful. There's a lot of reproductions out there. If you want a reproduction, buy a reproduction, but don't go paying original prices for a reproduction because people will take you if they can. So be careful. But if you're hitting like a flea market, hitting a yard sale, like some garage sale or something like that, this is the kind of stuff. Just dig through their video games. Ask them if they have video games, and maybe you can find yourself some little treasures, some gaming gold out there to be found. Like I said, Mega Man, which, if we look at the average loose sales, $86. $86 for an old NES game. You might not even have an NES to be able to play this game on, but if you find one and they're only asking like a couple of bucks because they're old games that they don't care about, you might be able to make yourself a nice little return. And if you don't believe me, go ahead and look. I'm not going to give you the little eBay snapshots. You can go check them out for yourself. If you don't believe me, go check the eBay snapshots for these. You'll see the prices that these things sell for. So go check it out. But if you're curious too, what it looks like in the box, because again, we're talking about loose games. Loose is easier. I know it's not apples to apples. If we start getting the boxes, instructions, sealed, unsealed, just like the toys, it can get you down a real deep rabbit hole trying to figure out values when you start getting in that deep in the water. So let's just stick with the loose because that's the easiest thing to find out there. A lot of games out there. But if you're curious to see what the box is like, this was the original cover box art for Mega Man. And as you can see, Mega Man is a personal favorite of mine. Got him as my background here. That said, should we do another Mega Man? I think we should. But this time, let's go to the Super Nintendo system. So Super NES. I was getting tongue tied on how to say it, but the Super NES. And again, you would think, well, Mega Man was a popular series. I mean, look, this is Mega Man 7. They had 7 of these. But just because it's a popular series doesn't mean these things can't be pretty valuable if you find them. So if you can find a Super Nintendo cartridge of Mega Man 7 loose, you might be looking at about $247. So $250 for a loose Mega Man game. Just saying, these are things it's worth knowing. I think this is valuable information for you guys to have. Again, I'm not going to try to guard it and keep this all secret to myself because I can't go shopping where you shop. You guys are all over the country, in some cases, other countries. I can't find that stuff. So hopefully I help you find that stuff and you can do something with it because, I'll look in my area. If I get lucky, I get lucky. If not, oh well. But 247 for Mega Man 7. Interesting to me. Interesting. And in case you're curious, just for fun, here's the box. Brings back memories. This really brings back memories when I see these cases and also the little plastic the cartridge would go sliding in there. Good stuff. All right. If again you've been watching the channel, I'm also a fan of Castlevania. And yes, the original Castlevania games are out there, the old NES games, but they all don't do all that well. As I was mentioning before, some games, yeah, you can find them maybe $20 to $30. I mean, that's fine, but that's not what I'm going for here. I'm trying to help you find something a little bit harder to find or a little bit better return on your investment in case you find these out there for, for $5 or something like that. Because paying $5 for a game and then being able to get 20 for it. Yeah, I guess that's great. We do it in comics all the time, but I'm more talking about if you find Dracula X, this Castlevania Super Nintendo Dracula X, maybe you find it out there for a couple of bucks. This is another $247 average game. So another $250 for this one. This is the type of stuff I'm talking about. Video game collecting, it's a whole nother niche, whatever you want to call it. And it's fascinating to me. And that's why I wanted to do this show and do this series, because I had no idea some of the prices on some of these games. Like I knew, abstract, there are games worth stuff, but putting context around which ones are and which ones aren't really is an eye-opener and it helps you make sense, or at least it's going to help me make sense. I'm going to go out there flipping through this stuff. Because again, I think it's kind of cool. That said, here's the box for this one, in case you're curious, and in case you find one with a box, because you can get a little bit extra too. If you can find the manuals and the boxes, more power to you. But it's just tough finding that stuff these days. Now, our next one is another favorite game of mine. I was a big RPG fan. I used to play this, and I know I'm kind of Super Nintendo heavy here, but that's kind of what I remember playing the most of when I was a kid. Like that was my time. Like that age time, like Super Nintendo was my gaming system. I played Genesis and all that, but the Super Nintendo was more for me. So Chrono Trigger was one of my favorites. I do have one Chrono Trigger shirt that's back there, but this was one of my favorite RPGs too. Great game. And had no idea that it would be worth anything if I still had it. But if I did, this Super Nintendo cartridge, or if you find one out there, Chrono Trigger, this is $243. $243 for this. That's 3 Super Nintendo cartridges I just showed you that are all about $250. Like, it's crazy how valuable some of these things can get. And these aren't even like the most expensive. It's not like I'm like burying all the games out there. These are the most expensive. No, there's games worth more than this. There's games worth more. There's games worth a little bit less. There are a ton to get through. There's a lot. And that's why I think this is going to be a fun series to do whenever I got the time to do it, because there's a lot. There's a lot of info out there, and I'm happy to share it with you guys. Chrono Trigger, here's the box, in case, again, you can find the box. Good luck. And one more. I know, like I said, I'm a little Super Nintendo heavy this week, but I got one more for you, and I'm showing you the shirt, because that's what this one is. This is the Ninja Gaiden Trilogy. I don't know, Ninja Gaiden. Don't know if I ever pronounced it right, but that's how I used to say it. I used to say Ninja Gaiden when I was a kid. NES, there were the 3 games. Those, again, I would have covered them, but they don't sell for nearly as much as this collected edition on the Super Nintendo. So the Super Nintendo system version of the game. And it was from Tecmo. You guys remember Tecmo? Tecmo Bowl? When I started to think back on all the publishers and all that stuff from back in the day, it does definitely bring back the nostalgia and the memories. But again, if you can find this one, this is another one worth your time. Maybe not as much as the others, but still $171 on average for this one. So average sales. And again, these are average sales, not asking prices. These are actual sales. And like I said, you can go check this stuff, go look them up, go look at the values and prices of some of these things yourself. If you don't believe me, go ahead, go take a look. This is another one, keep an eye out for. And again, here's the box. In case you're curious, just showing you that box. Okay, we're going to shift systems. I know, like I said, it was Super Nintendo heavy to start. I'm generally going to shoot for about 10 games into this, so I think we're about halfway through thereabouts with this one. So let's see what I got for you next. Up next, we're going to go over to the Genesis. Again, I didn't have a Genesis. My neighbor did. I go over to their house, and we play Genesis over there. So I did not have this game, the Punisher Genesis game, at least. The Punisher. Yeah, comic related. We're going to kind of tie it to some comics here and there where we can. So what does the Punisher sell for? Again, loose cartridge. Again, watch out for the reproductions. There are reproductions out there, even listed. You can see them. But I only say watch out because, you know, if you don't have a Genesis, you're not going to invest in the collecting reproduction or, you know. So this one, $125 still. A loose Sega Genesis cartridge for the Punisher game, $125. Again, this is just stuff I think is worth knowing because I know I see plenty of games out there and they're just put in boxes. They're just laid out in tables at a flea market and whatnot. Yes, some people know what they have and may charge up for them. But just like hidden gems, if you know the average prices, you can make that decision. So if somebody has Punisher out there, they're asking $20 for it. Maybe it's worth $20 because it can sell for $125. Just saying. And if you're curious, here's the box art. Box art's kind of cool. And hey, it's a Capcom game. Capcom made some of my favorites. All right. Those were all cartridges. Loose cartridges you can find. But as you know, games didn't always stay on cartridges. We've moved away from the cartridges. We've moved to CDs. We've moved to discs. So let's go on to PlayStation. PlayStation 1. Silent Hill. And this has come up too because I covered the covers on Chasing Ghosts. I think we're getting a remake game of this pretty soon. This was one of the spookier games that I've played. I don't know. It's still eerie just because it's all the sound base, the darkness, the surprise. It's with the rate. This game will get under your skin a little bit. That said, this loose disc, granted, you got to watch. It's not all scratched up. You want to make sure it's still playable. But Silent Hill, the first one, $125. $125 for this game here. Again, PlayStation game. So this could be mixed in with CDs, You remember, like PlayStation 1 games, they were like music CDs, music CD cases. So who knows where you might find some of this stuff. All right. Going to jump to another system. Again, try to touch a little bit of everything. And like I said, I know I went Super Nintendo heavy here on the first one, but got to try to bounce around, hit a lot of the different systems, and not so much of the newer stuff because again, it's not really gold. It's still stuff that's out there. Older stuff is what we're looking at, like Teen Titans on the Xbox. Teen Titans on the Xbox, the original Xbox, not Xbox 360, not Xbox Series X, Xbox X, whatever. Old school OG Xbox. Teen Titans. You see them there on there. $120. $120 for the Teen Titans. And again, here's the case, in case you're curious. Look for this case. Look for that game. $120. Could be in your pocket if you can find it. Again, fascinated by some of these prices. Personally, fascinated. All right, next one's not comic book related. It's not one of my favorites because it's not a game I played or played a lot of. We're going to go over to PlayStation 2 for this one. But this was a pretty well-liked show. This is a cult classic type show that had a video game, Futurama. So Futurama had a game on the PlayStation 2, mind you. So now we're etching into like the late 90s, early 2000s. So right around the year 2000, I think PlayStation 2 is when that was rolling out. So the PS2 Futurama game. What can you get for this if you find it? $190 for the disc. Again, loose. Loose. So not a sealed box, sealed case, nothing like that. Loose Futurama game, $190. $190. But if you're curious, here's the box. And like I said, classic show, lots of fans, cult classic. Definitely one to keep an eye out for. And I think that's going to bring us to our last game. And something I was thinking of doing to kind of tie some of my series together, because I keep pitching this show, Gaming Gold, as hidden gems, but for video games. So I was like, you know what else we can do while doing this? As I mentioned, a lot of these games are expensive, but these are by no means the most expensive or the hardest to find. So I thought what would be fun is if we also covered maybe a Ghost. We'll do a Ghost video game. At least try to get one in every week if I can. So this is the type of thing that you're just not going to find. Just hard to find, impossible to find type of stuff. Or maybe not impossible, but just really, really tough to find, especially if you're going out there digging in the wild for video games. And the first one, yes, I know there's a lot of options, and I know probably a lot of games are popping in your guys' heads who know video games. You're like, oh, the track and field. There's plenty, and we'll get to them. We'll get to them. But the first one, I was fascinated by this because this was a rental exclusive. Clay Fighter. One, I don't know if you remember Clay Fighter, but it was kind of like, after all the fighting games, we had so many variations of the fighting game from Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, started us on the way, the Killer Instincts, and whatnot, the Tekkens. Clay Fighters, we had all these claymation 3D type characters. This is on the N64 Clay Fighter, but this was a special release, the Sculptor's Cut. So there was extra characters and like maps and things like this, or levels inside this game, and it was a Blockbuster exclusive. And that's why I wanted to pick this one for fun, because I worked at Blockbuster through college. Like, that was my college job. I worked at a Blockbuster. I remember seeing this out there. I think I probably rented it and played it, but man, Blockbuster exclusive game. Definitely an oddball thing, if you can find it. So, I mean, that's the way. The only way you're going to get this, you couldn't buy this in the store yourself. You could only buy this used off of a Blockbuster. I don't know about you, but I have purchased used games. It was the diciest thing in the world. Buying a used game from a video store, you had like a 50-50 shot that game would work longer than a week, because people were rough on those games. Like I said, I worked there. I saw what they did with them. They were rough on those games. So buying a secondhand one from there, good luck. So, once again, that would be the only way people would be getting this particular game, is secondhand from Blockbuster. But if you did, and if you managed to have it, or that somebody out there manages to have it, and you managed to find it, well, $891. Almost $900 for an N64 cartridge. Loose. Again, not sealed, brand new. That's usually the type of prices you see for things like that. $891 for a loose N64 cartridge. Craziness. But if you want to see what the box looks like, this is what the box would have looked like. So this would have been the cover box. Special edition. Again, more characters to play, all that fun stuff. But hope you like that. That's what I got for you this week. Hopefully you enjoyed that, because I had kind of a lot of fun digging into this. I got more games to cover, more that I found that I want to pick out and talk about. I reached out, like I said, to my fellow gaming buddies. Like JJ said, he's going to help me out, and we're going to come up with some more games to talk about, some more hidden gems. So, like I said, let me know what you think. But that's all I got for you this week. So, until next time, thanks for stopping by, checking this out. Please like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Keep telling your friends. Please, in the comments, tell me what you think about this, because, again, this is a new show, new series. Let me know what you want to see, what you want to see more of. Tell me what you think of it. Do you like it? Do you not care? You only here for comics? You don't care about video games? Fair enough. But I'm still going to do some of this weird stuff because I like it. I like toys. I like video games, so I'm still going to talk about them every now and then. So with that all said, hopefully you're on board for that. And like I said, hopefully you're enjoying the channel. And I got more content coming your way every day. Shorts every day, new videos or live videos, either from me or from my friends, coming every day. So see you guys later, right?